It's not possible. I didn't say it would be easy, Neo.
Good morning.
Morning.
Um, the parole committee is impaneled here in Baton Rouge at headquarters. Today is May 2nd. And on the panel today, I'll be chairing. My name is Jerry Ledoux. To my left is Carolyn Stapleton. To my right is Pete Freeman. It's 9:34 and we have support staff here at headquarters. Could you identify yourself?
Yes. Parole.
We are at Caldwell Detention Center. Can we identify any staff members who are there?
Kylie Hendricks, DOC Transition Specialist.
Thank you very much. Sir, would you state your name and your DOC number for the record?
Andrew Drumright, DOC number 709203.
Mr. Drumright, I'm going to read some information into the record and then we'll be asking you some questions. I do see that I want to acknowledge that your father, Jim Drumright, is on Zoom today in support, and we will allow him to speak at the appropriate time. First of all, I find that you are a second-class offender currently serving a 10-year sentence for molestation of a juvenile. You have a parole eligibility date, December 22nd, 2022. Good time date, 9/9/2026, and a full term date of 4/23/2027. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to be taking the lead on asking some questions. So in reviewing this incident, you were initially placed on probation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they found you in Colorado. Help me understand what happened from the time you went on probation till you absconded to Colorado.
Yes, ma'am. When I was first released, I was in Louisiana, in West Monroe. I was awaiting for my probation to be transferred to Texas. And when that was completed, I moved to Texas. And because of some poor decisions on my part, I was struggling with holding a job and moving forward. And then I started getting some warnings from my probation officer, and I made some poor decisions and decided to abscond to Colorado, and was trying to just live there without taking any responsibility for my probation.
What did you learn from that experience?
I learned that I was making some very poor decisions and that I was handling it in a very immature and irresponsible way. And ultimately it would only lead to, my life going downhill and ending up incarcerated and not learning from my mistakes.
Run, but you can't hide. So who were you staying with in Texas? What was your support system there?
I was staying in a motel. My father was providing financial support while I was trying to obtain and hold a job to support myself.
And so they extradited you back to Louisiana, and you have been incarcerated how long now?
Almost 6 years.
Okay. During your time in, you have taken a few classes, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
So those classes, did you complete your sex offender treatment? I see that you took some of that. Which ones have you taken and completed?
I've taken cognitive behavior intervention for employment, anger management, and risk management. I have not taken the sex offender treatment yet. In fact, it was my hope that I could be recommended to that program so that on completion of that program, I could receive my parole, because I believe that program would be a huge help to help me get back on the right track.
Okay. And at Caldwell, they don't offer that.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to go to my colleagues at this time. Do either of you want to have a statement or ask a question? Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Mr. Andrew, do you take responsibility for your actions?
Yes, sir. I am completely responsible for my actions. I made some very poor decisions.
Okay. Whether she was your stepsister?
My adopted sister, sir.
Your adopted sister. Okay, I know she's passed away now, but what would you say today if you could talk to her? What would you tell her?
I would tell her that I'm terribly sorry for what I did and how it affected her life and made things difficult for her, emotionally and mentally. And I wish I could take it back, but I can't.
I have no further questions.
Stapleton, do you have any questions?
Mr. Drumright, I think, like you said yourself, that the sex offender classes are something that you need to complete. And I'm glad that you mentioned it. And so I agree completely with what you just said.
At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Drumright, your father, to provide some comments to the board in support. So if you'll please state your name and your relationship, Mr. Drumright, we'll go to you now. Are you on mute?
Yeah, sorry, I had to hit a button.
Okay.
Yeah, my name's Jim Drumright. I'm Andrew's father, and I support whatever next appropriate moves the board believes. I believe Andrew's he has shared his remorse with me over not just this, but everything involved in the circumstances and what's gone on over the years prior between his skipping out on his parole and coming back, and then also the events that led to the original sentencing. So I believe he's ready for the next step.
Drumright, where would he live if he gets out? Is he gonna be in a motel? Is he gonna be with you? Where is he gonna be?
I've made arrangements with an organization that's in Monroe, Louisiana, to serve out the remainder of his whatever the parole period is. I think it'd be 2 or 3 years, and they would provide housing, assisting with employment. They work with former offenders. I think it's listed in his paperwork. I believe we provided the name and address.
Free indeed.
I have no further questions.
Thank you, sir, for making those comments. Appreciate it. I did not even bring up the issue that happened at Walmart. I just need to ask you, during that time, were you having some difficulty with mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you had a mental health evaluation?
Since being incarcerated, no.
Okay. Okay. So there are 2 pieces here that we're seeing that may need to be filled in, right? So why don't you give your statement to the board and tell us what you think at this time.
I believe that in addition to receiving that program, I also could benefit from, I believe the place where I would be going has counseling as well. And my long-term goal when I get out is to pursue managing my depression and anxiety with medication. And also, I would like to thank y'all for taking the time to hear my case. I do appreciate it. And my long-term goal is during my time on parole to save up some money to get my own place. And I want to complete the entirety of my parole in Louisiana. And then I plan to save up enough money and get a plan to move to Washington State where my brother and mother are living and return to college.
I'd like to ask the warden, I can't see you, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Transition specialist.
Excuse me, the transition specialist. If we want to send him to another facility to get his sex offender treatment, would you be able to facilitate that, or are you going to have difficulty doing that?
I believe it would be easier if that was something that y'all added in the recommendation, and then it would be an automatic process for him to be transferred at the next availability to Bayou Dorchie.
Okay, so are you saying that without it being ordered, that you could not do it?
Without it being ordered, he will not be able to go to that program until his last year and a half or so. That's typically when they have to do it, at least within their last year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I would like to go into an executive session for a moment to talk about some confidential information. If the board is acceptable to that.
I second. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we'll be right back. Sorry. Oh, it's 9:47 and we're returning from executive session. Mr. Drumright, I really have appreciated you owning responsibility for your actions, for identifying some of the needs that you have. We do have some law enforcement opposition to your release. We do have in our record your risk assessment score is still moderate, and I believe that's because you need some more treatment. Sir, at this time, I am going to deny your request for parole, but strongly recommend that you are moved to a DOC facility that has sex offender treatment and mental health evaluation. I don't want that to discourage you. I think you've got a good long-range plan, but I think that's what the next step should be. Okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Freeman?
I concur 100%. Pay attention to your sex offender classes, reapply when everything is done, and we'll see where you are at that point in your life.
And Ms. Stapleton?
I concur with my colleagues, everything they said.
All right, Mr. Drumright, you've got something to look forward to then. You've got some, hopefully a transfer and some treatment, okay? Thank you very much. Your parole has been denied. Okay, so it's 9:49, and that is our last hearing at Caldwell, so we're going to adjourn there. Thank you very much.